So a few months ago I found that I had archetypes coming up, and the first one was just quite obvious. I do a lot of energetic and integrative work, and I found that the first one to come up was like a bunny. It was like super playful, and I just remember it's like a small bug that to me it looked like a cloud bug, and I was just really enjoying it, and all I wanted to be was witness in that moment, like not have someone look it up or just kind of enjoy me enjoying it. And then I worked with oracle cards, and I noticed like certain cards, even though I just bought them, in like a week I was pulling the same card like 3 times, and I was only pulling 1 to 3 a day, and there were like 60-70 cards, so just like the odds were, it seemed, and I find a lot of signs and synchronicities in my life, so this to me felt significant. And then I started to feel like it belonged to a certain energy in me, a certain energetic signature. And as I played with this more, it turned out that there were 4 different archetypes. And then as I was journaling, as I was like, I guess channeling, it wasn't like fishing for it, just my body was like, I need to get this out. What came up was like, there are 4 different elements, so they represent 4 different elements pretty much. That's like the closest framework. And so I then realized, like, as I went along, I kind of was building these out in my notes, like whenever I felt any kind of feeling, or say if I was going shopping, I would start to notice, I really feel this energy is drawn to this item, or like this item really brings out this other energy, or this action, I really feel like doing that. Which part is talking to me today? Okay, she's quite grounded, so that's like, more the earth element. And I found that each of them had their different personas, so things that they liked. They had their own shadows, the things that they needed to balance. And what's more is they all interlinked with each other. So say the shark in me liked the fire in me, the Pele, and so that was my symbol, Pele for fire and shark for like water, but kind of clarity, intuition, and like instinct. It like cut through fog and stuff, and so they balance each other out, because that creates my creative strand. I get very clear and precise, but I need that fiery energy to make it creative, because without that it's just like pure instinct. But if it's mixed with another element, then it can be about grounding someone else, like kind of saying, no, you don't get to disrespect me like this, you're giving me a load of fog and my shark is cutting through it. So they kind of had different applications, and that's what I found really useful. This sense of like, I can now, if I start to feel certain sensations in my body or certain fatigue, then I can ask myself, okay, which archetype am I in right now? And either off the top of my head, or I can look at my notes, I can see, okay, I'm feeling this, and this character, this archetype needs this energy to feel more balanced, because I have a lot going on internally. Like, it feels, I've just always had a lot of like different voices, feelings, sensations going on in my body, and this really helps me navigate that. I can kind of help to pinpoint, having something external, having something characterized, having a framework that's living, that I can add to and refine and hone in, that I can interact with, has really helped me understand my inner landscape in terms of the energy that I'm creating from or moving from, but also in terms of refinding that balance again, so I can find stability much quicker. And I can now also take that in intentionally. So say if I'm going into an interview for a certain job, or if I'm having a certain conversation with someone, I can bring up in my mind, okay, I need this and this, and I've got to be careful not to lean into this 3rd archetype, because otherwise I'm going to start being too kind and lose my boundaries, for example. The other thing is, it just is really great to create intentions, to say I have certain items that might make me feel really fun and girly and playful, and if I'm feeling a bit heavy, I can put those on, go out in the world, and then have interactions that are a lot more like silly and just fun. And by wearing these things that belong to these different characters and archetypes, I can visually or like sensually remind myself of who I'm trying to ground into. So if I'm getting like a really overwhelmed feeling of feeling too stuck and stodgy, I can lean into, oh yes, I'm wearing this, or I'm feeling this, or do this action, or think about this to help balance me. And so I can intentionally bring out an energy as well if I want to have certain interactions. So that's been super interesting and also so cool. I've done a lot to kind of hone this. You know, a lot of it has been intuitive. It's kind of come up. I wasn't searching for archetypes. I just do a lot of embodiment practices, some trauma work. I am dedicated to creating new boundaries or getting new things or creating new systems that just support a lifestyle that supports my inner energy, and trying to work off of that initial creative instinct or spark to allow the energy to express itself instead of focusing on outcome and priorities. So I do a lot of like creative work as well, and I always write down thoughts as I go throughout the day, and all these things and other things I've done have just helped build this picture of my internal landscape that now is starting to become a lot clearer. And it used to be, that whole system used to be absolute chaos, and it would just overrule me, overrun me. And now I feel like I've got a working framework that might change in future, might not even be helpful for me in, who knows, like a few months time even, or it might be something that I live with for the rest of my life, and I build, add, change, get more familiar. I'm not sure, but it has felt like a really core and deep part of me I am now made friends with after like my whole life it feeling quite unruly and chaotic. So that's been super interesting. Do ask me questions if you're interested in more. I'd love to talk more about it, but for now I just thought I'd share my experience.